Hey folks, I'm Rob with Two Guys in a Ride, and today we're out at the Chanhassen Autoplex, and we are with one of the owners here and his two British cars, and they are phenomenal. And I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit about both of his cars because they both have great stories. Take it away, Steve.
Thank you, Rob.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming out.
You bet.
Steve is my name. Like Rob said, I'm an owner here at the Autoplex in Chanhassen, and I love British cars, specifically the Mini Cooper. So this is a 1984 Mini Cooper. It actually came from London, England, in the UK about 10 years ago. I've owned it 6 years. It's an 84, and it's the anniversary model, the 25th anniversary model. They call it the Mini 25. The Mini Cooper was built starting in 1959 all the way to 2000. So an 84 Mini Cooper is the 25th anniversary model. That's what this was, the silver color scheme. You'll notice the right-hand drive steering wheel on the wrong side. In America, the right side in the UK. It's fun to drive. You freak people out when you're driving and pass them and you're on the same side of the road they are. I could almost shake hands with the other drivers, but it's fun to drive. It's got a 998cc engine in it, 45 horsepower. Rob, your John Deere garden tractor may have more horsepower than this car. 45 horsepower.
Almost.
But it's only about 1,600 pounds. So top speed on this car is 78, 80 miles an hour. It's an automatic transmission, so very easy to drive. I don't think I could drive on the right side and shift with my left hand and manually do the feet thing. So it really works out good with the automatic and right-hand drive, much easier to drive. The other thing is 1,500 pounds, I should say, okay. 78 miles an hour. Sir Alec Izagonis was the designer of the Mini in the late 50s for British Motor Company, BMC. In 1999, they did a survey on these cars, and on all cars, and the Mini was voted second most influential car in the world. The Model T was the first place car. Third place car was the VW Beetle. The Mini was sold in the UK, it was sold in Spain, it was sold in Italy, it was sold in Japan in later years, Australia, New Zealand. It was a world car. Sold all over the world. Australia, New Zealand, Japan, the UK were right-hand drive models. Everywhere else pretty much were left-hand drive.
And they had actually sold 5 million of these by 1999 when they voted on that, and I think the Beetle had sold almost 20-some million. Yeah, so exactly. This was voted the #1 European influential car, but barely lost out, like you said, for #2 after the Model T for the worldwide.
In the world. Yeah. And so so again, 1959 to 2000, a long run for this car. And they were known for their racing abilities. All kinds of competitions in Europe and worldwide. They even use these on lakes for ice racing. The thing about the Mini and the new Minis that they sell, it's the bulldog stance. The wheels are at the four corners, maximizing interior space for the occupants. When you sit in this car, with the glass, there's a lot more room than you think there is. Very short hood, no trunk. This is the bonnet, the trunk is the boot.
Right. And part of that is what I remember seeing is when Izagonis was given the challenge to design it, they gave him the basic overall weight and dimensions and said, okay, now come up with something. Right. And that's when he pushed the tires and wheels out to each corner, and then he had to actually turn the engine as well, because that's how we got some of that space savings out of this. Right. So yes. And we don't think anything about that nowadays because everybody's got a transverse mounted engine, but this was 1959, folks. Right. And there's our 45 horses in there. And barely room for one. But again, at a 1,600 pound car, you don't need much. And I've had this thing 70 all day long, and putters along really nice and smooth. That's amazing. And like you said, from 59 to when they stopped making this version, very minimal in the modifications, the overall change, because almost like the Beetle. I mean, not to say anything against this, it's definitely a positive, but just like in the Beetle, they found something that worked.
Right.
And so could you imagine being tasked as the engineer to say, hey, make this better?
Yeah. Well, with American cars, there's changes every year.
Right.
In front ends, rear ends, styling. I mean, they have to outdo themselves every year. The Mini was consistent, and in size, they didn't alter it hardly at all. They came up with bigger engines later on, the 1275. The 998 was used for a long time, and then later years, when they, probably in the 93, 94, they came up with a 1275 engine that boosted the horsepower maybe up to 60, 75, somewhere in that neighborhood. Most of the Minis all the way through were famous for the Lucas electrical. This one has the original Lucas headlights. A lot of people snicker at Lucas. They call it the Prince of Darkness, because the Lucas electrical systems were always going out and hard to repair. Electrical's hard to repair. Lucas was very hard to repair.
What I've always heard is that they didn't go bad. The wiring, you let the smoke out.
Yeah.
So I guess it was installed in the factory, so that you let the smoke out, and that's what happened with the Lucas electrical. And I think that probably on those cars with a Lucas, it probably taught most Brits how to cuss at an early age.
Exactly. And these are built in Oxford, England.
Okay.
Later on, the Minis were this vintage was built in Oxford, England. Later on, they moved to Birmingham, and the Jaguar factory is in Birmingham. A lot of the war efforts, Spitfires for the World War II were built in Birmingham, England, which is north of London. But this particular Mini was built in Oxford, home of the college, Oxford College, Rhodes Scholars.
Yes.
You're a Rhodes Scholar, aren't you?
I'm a scholar of the road.
very, very good.
Yeah, there we go.
This one does have a couple modifications. It's got the flares, and but this one came with 12-inch tires. This is 12-inch tires. When I first got it, it had 13s on it, which were incorrect, so I put the 12s on it.
Now, what about the wheels? Are those an original wheel?
The wheels are, well, on the Mini 25, these are not correct wheels. These are actually a better wheel.
Okay, they're a nice looking wheel. I love the look.
But it's a 12-inch tire. The first Minis they came out in 59, early 60s were 10-inch tires.
Wow.
Then they went to 12s, and then later on they went to some 13s. But you see the Mini 25 logo there.
Yes.
So that's 1984, 25th year.
Well, then why? What does this mean to you? What does a Mini mean to you?
I've always loved the design of the Minis and what you said about how consistent they were. They're fun.
Yep.
They're fun to drive. I used to have go-karts as a kid.
Yeah.
This car drives on rails. This car, the most comment, I think the most people talk about the Mini say it drives like a go-kart. They use that terminology. I used to have go-karts as a kid, several of them. It drives so much like a go-kart. It's incredible because of those wheels and the suspension and
and it's low center of gravity. It's very very low. And we've got pictures. Steve let me sit in it a couple weeks ago when I was here, so I've got pictures of those. And of doing that, and there is a lot of room in there. I'm surprised because it's a box with wheels that drives like a go-kart.
You need to be a contortionist to get into the back seat. The front seats flip up, and you have to crawl back there. It's hard to get in and out of the back seat.
But it was made for families. It was a family car, so the kids would pop back there, 2 to 3 kids.
You could put a couple kids back there easy.
Right.
And so I just like the design. I like this one. I said when I had my search on for a Mini. My first choice was a right-hand drive Mini. I wanted one with English heritage that actually came across the pond, as they say.
Right.
I found this in northern Minnesota.
Okay.
And the guy that was selling it had Range Rovers, Defenders, and a lot of British cars, all right-hand drive. Okay. That's where I bought it in about 6-7 years ago. So now, it's just a great
would car. They all have? There was never any. Was there any leather interior, or was that just too fancy?
They were pretty much all cloth. There was an Italian version of the Mini called the Innocente.
Oh.
There was they would ship bodies down to Italy, and the Italians would jazz them up a little bit. There were some fancier interiors in some of those cars. The later Minis, then once you get to 98, 99, 2000, I think you could get there probably were some leather options there, but most of them had cloth all the way through.
But even though with its history and legendary everything about the car nowadays, and it actually has panache now too, but it was created as a utility vehicle.
Right.
It was never meant to be a fancy car, but it served its purpose exceedingly. And that's why it's still in demand.
The English roads are narrow.
Yes.
The streets in London are narrow.
Yes.
I've been there.
Okay.
But now there's a lot of big cars in London. I was there 2 years ago. But these are, you still see a lot of these running around. You see a lot of the BMW Minis running around, and we'll get to that. But it did serve its purpose. The one thing about these cars too, parts are easy to find. There's companies in the UK, there's companies in the US where I've bought parts. I've done suspension work, engine work, a lot of things. I actually buy all my parts in the UK.
Okay.
Because the American companies have kind of a monopoly. Okay. I find I can buy parts in the UK even with shipping, and it's less than the American companies are charging. So everything I've done in this car is UK. It was an original grill off of a Mini. Interesting story on the tires. I got the tires and wheels mounted and balanced and sent to me as a package. So I say there's English air in the tires. There's like UK air in the tires. There is.
Now tell me something. You were telling us about the grill. You have quick disconnect on the grill, and why is that?
On the Mini, to do an oil change, the oil filter is right down here. It's a canister.
Okay.
And on a normal Mini grill, you have to undo 4 screws here and 4 screws here. The alternative, what a lot of people do, is just mount this chrome piece on each side to the grill, and then you have two knobs here. Take that out, the whole assembly comes out, so it's easy to do an oil change rather than messing around with all those
8 bolts,
all those screws. Yeah. So a lot of guys do that with their Minis. It's very easy. So I just did that.
That's really cool that you have to take the grill off your car to change your oil.
Yeah.
But everything, again, it's all fit in there exactly where it needs to be.
But everything is squished. I mean, there's not much. There's not much forward room here. If you look at the back of the car, and of course I've got my English plates on there to make it authentic.
Now, what's the cargo capacity? Do you have any idea of the cubic feet or
I don't have any idea on cubic feet. But I can show you.
You can take a look at that.
The battery is under here.
Oh, okay.
Battery's in the back.
Okay.
You know, there's a little room in here. Can't get a set of golf clubs in there. But,
you need a roof rack for that.
They'd have to go on the other seat there. There's just a little cubby here for small luggage.
But enough. I mean, it would be a nice picnic basket you could put in there and go out and find a nice shady spot by a creek or river and enjoy the day.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's awesome. Then there's in Britain there's a lot of fog.
Right.
So this is a rear-mounted fog light.
Gotcha.
That when you flip it on, it stays on all the time, so people behind you can see. Now on a right-hand drive Mini, the fog light is on the right. On a left-hand drive Mini, the fog lamp is
on the left. Okay.
Again, Lucas Electrical.
So the dashboard may show that it's on, but it might not be on.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
Well, I see right next to it, you've got a newer version by a German company that's reproducing the Mini, and that's the parent is, of course, BMW.
Right.
And I think they introduced this in the, 2009?
Well,
or no, excuse me, 1999, I think, Auto Show is where they showed a concept.
They showed a concept of, you're right, BMW took over, they bought the Mini name as these were being phased out. Last year again was 2000. BMW in the late 90s bought the rights to the Mini name.
Okay.
And in 2002, they kicked off, and in Europe in 2003 in the US they imported the BMW Mini.
Right.
This is a specific a variant of the BMW Mini. Most of the BMW Minis have that same kind of shape.
Right.
But the BMWs are bigger. This is a 2013 Mini Cooper Coupe.
Okay.
This is actually a 2-seater variant of the Mini Cooper S or the Mini Cooper that you see
when they first came out, they were the 4-seater look, or tradition.
2003 to 2006. They've gone through 3 or 4 body style changes.
Right.
Grown the Mini now.
Yes.
So 2003 to 2006 was the Series 1.
Okay.
Then 2006 to 2013 which this falls in,
right.
Series 2. Now the 2014 through 2019s are even bigger. They've kind of been on steroids through the years, and they've grown.
Right.
So 2003 through 6 were the first years imported in the U.S., the smallest minis. But this one is small. It's a 2-seater. It's got an unusual top on it. People ask me, well, does the roof come off?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. No,
there is a roadster version of this car.
Okay.
But the top does not come off.
And I like that.
And you know what the design influence of this car was?
No.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
A backward turned baseball cap.
Well, that's perfect for the American market.
A backward turned baseball cap. I read about it.
Is that right?
When they were designing this car, somebody brought in a baseball cap, and they kind of, that's the design influence of this car.
I see that, yeah.
So,
how about that?
So again, this is the coupe version. There is a roadster version. I don't think the lines on it are as much fun.
Yeah, it's hard to own a roadster sometimes.
Yeah. My brother has one of these in Colorado Springs, so when I was looking, my son just got his driver's license, so he got my Buick Regal, so I said, I had 3 BMW Minis before. I said, when Spencer gets his car, his Regal from me, I'm going to go back to a Mini, and this is what I found in Ohio.
Wow.
Low mileage, had what, 14,000 miles.
Now, do they still make this?
No.
No, this was a limited production?
The limited production coupe, 2012 through 2015.
Oh, wow.
So they don't make it anymore. They're hard to find in good condition. This one was cherry, 14,000 miles, came from Ohio.
Wow.
Has the stripes, and they come in various colors. And you notice the stripes on the hood, black. When it goes to the black top, then the stripes go to red.
I did not notice that. Thank you for pointing that out. That's really cool. Because they knew the stripes would disappear, so
right, exactly.
Awesome. Now, was it being a special edition? Was it only available in red, or could you get?
No, you can get red, white, black, British Racing green, quite a few different colors. Now, I've always liked the red Mini. I've had a couple red Minis.
I do too. Just something about a red sports car.
Yeah.
And it just with the black chin spoiler, the side skirts, the fairing around the wheels, and the black top, and the rear integrated spoiler on the roof, the blackout around the trim. It just really sets that vehicle off nicely.
Now comparing, okay, so we have 1,500 pounds here.
Right.
We have 2,700 pounds here.
Almost twice the weight.
45 horsepower.
Yeah.
181 turbocharged horsepower here. Top speed 78. Top speed on this one 149.
Wow.
It's a BMW rocket ship. And so
now is that a 6?
That's
straight 6?
It's a 4. It's a turbocharged 4.
Okay.
Again, transverse mounted. Just like the old Mini.
Okay. So front wheel drive.
Front wheel drive.
Yep. Because I know you can get some of like the Clubmen and those they have in all-wheel drive now. Yeah.
I got all seasons on here. These things, the 3 Minis I had prior.
Right.
This Mini, they're bulldogs in snow. Unless the snow's deep.
Right, because they are low to the ground.
They're low to the ground.
Right.
But I've never gotten stuck in this.
I have a friend out near my house too. He and his son both had Minis, and they said they loved them in the snow.
Right. There's no problem with them.
Right.
Unless it gets real deep. Again, with this coupe version, there's a spoiler here.
Okay.
There's air flowing under here.
I see that.
And then this spoiler comes up at 50 miles an hour.
Okay.
At 50 miles an hour, this automatically comes up, and then when you hit a stoplight, it'll go down. So it's up and down all day long.
This is the Cooper S, which means it is the John Cooper version, and there's a turbo. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you can get these with the non-turbo, or with the non-turbo.
Okay.
And it's 130 horsepower.
Okay.
But
so a little bit bigger than the original, so they kept some spirit of the original there.
I can't get the golf clubs in here either. The driver's too. So I played golf today, and I had to put the clubs in the passenger seat.
I love it.
The clubs were my date.
Well, we were talking about earlier that I'd hate to be the one that was charged with trying to design a newer, better, but I think BMW did a fairly good job on it. It obviously it's not the same vehicle, but it has a lot of the character that the original vehicle has. Now, you owning both, is there any character in the drive that is similar, or are they just different cars?
They're just different cars. Okay. I mean, this is a rocket when you step on it. They both handle very well because of the design.
Right.
45 horsepower, you're not going to break any speed records. And the 0 to 60 time, I don't know what it is. 0 to 60 on this one's probably about 6 seconds, I think.
Right.
But
day and a half in the other one.
I love driving them both, and many times I've driven them both in the same day for various, I'll go to a show and then I'll drive this one home or whatever.
Right.
And so they're both they're eye-catching, they're fun. I don't think you can beat it.
Can you pick a favorite, or do they each have their own charm that equally?
Yeah,
they're like your kids.
Yeah,
you can't pick the favorite.
You can't pick favorites there. You have to go.
Well, folks, there you have it. We've got two beautiful Minis. One, the original English, British built in Oxford, and the other one, BMW built, but it's still just as much fun. And we've got
also in Oxford. They put the plant. The BMW put the plant on the footprint of the original Mini.
I did not know that.
So that's kind of neat.
Cool. So you kept. Hopefully, they kept a lot of the labor force as well. And
all from Oxford University.
They've got
laborers.
There you go. Yeah, literary folks actually building it. So you rush out and get one. But that's it. But thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much for sharing your time and
My
sharing
pleasure.
your fantastic cars. We love it.
Thank you.